Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. In today's lecture, we will learn about matrices. Matrices has wider applications, and in simplest terms, it's a simplest representation of coefficients in the system of linear equations. Now, for instance, a person A has 4 pens, 5 pencils and 10 books, and person B has 6 pens, 9 pencils and 19 books. So what is its matrix representation? This means that in simplest term, this A corresponds to 4 pens, 5 pencils and 10 books, and B corresponds to 6, 9 and 19 respectively. So if I want to represent in matrix, this is the matrix form. Now let us closely look into the same. So these are number of columns. So it has in total 3 columns, which corresponds to pens, pencils and books. And for person A and B, their observations, so these are rows. So in total, this matrix has 2 rows and 3 columns. So it's 2 by 3 is an order of a matrix. One important point to note is you always represent rows first and columns later. So in general, any matrix of m by n order, m is the number of rows and n are the number of columns. So you can see these represents row 1, row 2, row 3 and so on, row m. And this represents column 1, column 2, 3 and so forth, column n. So A11 is the element corresponds to first row and first column. Let's say I want to see the second row and third column. So that element is A23 and this is second row and third column. And therefore, the order of the matrix corresponds to it is m by n. Again, m is first rows and then n are number of columns. There is another term known as square matrix. In square matrix, number of rows and number of columns are equal. For example, you can have 2 by 2 matrix. It is a square matrix, and then similarly 3 by 3 and so forth. So the idea is in square matrix, number of rows and columns are equal. Now let's begin with matrix operations. The first one is addition and subtraction of matrices. So one of the important rule is the order of the matrix should be the same. So this means that what is the order of matrix A? Let's say this is matrix A and this is matrix B. So for 1, how many rows are there? Row 1 and row 2. And how many columns are there? Column 1 and column 2. So it's 2 by 2 matrix. Similarly, B is also 2 by 2 matrix. Now since the order are same, so therefore you can add. So in order to add, each elements will be added to the corresponding element in B matrix. For example, this is A11 matrix and this is A11 element and this is B11 element. So these two will be added. So this becomes 2 added by this minus 8. Corresponding to A12, it will be 1 plus 3. Then for second row and first column, it will be 3 plus 2, and then similarly this will be minus 4 plus minus 7. So now we know the basic rule of math. When two numbers are both positive sign, you have to add. When one is negative, one is positive, you have to subtract. When one is positive, other is negative, again subtract. And when both the numbers are negative, you have to add. And the signs will always depend on the biggest number. So plus and minus becomes negative, then 3 plus 2 is 5, 1 plus 3 is 4 because you're adding, and then plus and minus is minus, so this becomes minus 4 minus 7. So what is 2 minus 8? So it will be, you have to subtract. So this will be, when 2 subtract from 8, it will be 6, and 8 is the largest number, so you have a negative sign. And similarly, this one is 4, then you have 5, and then negative negative means positive, so 7 plus 4 is 11, and the biggest sign will be again negative. So this is the answer corresponding to addition of these matrices. The important point to note is, in order to subtract, what you have to do is, instead of plus sign here, it will be negative for subtraction. So just try by yourself. All you have to do is, instead of adding these elements, you have to subtract. Now let's begin with multiplication of matrices. So one of the important point to note in that is, now how many rows are present in a column? There are 2 rows, row 1 and row 2. How many columns are present? 3 columns. So the number of columns for first matrix A, which is multiplied by the second matrix B, the rows for this should be the same. Just to repeat, number of columns for A should be same as number of rows for B. And that then only you can multiply those 2 matrices. And the resulting matrix will have the other element as order. So 2 is the resulting one and this 2 for the column. So the order of C is 2 by 2. Think about it. What will happen if you multiply B by A? Do you find the same order? Let's see. So what is the order for B? It's 3 by 2, right? And what is the order of A? It's 2 by 3. So the resultant matrix C corresponding to this will be 3 by 3. So in simplest terms, A by B is not when you multiply B by A. So that's not the same. Unlike in numbers, when you multiply is the same, but in matrices, this rule doesn't hold good. Okay, so now let's begin multiplying A with C. So what is the rule is, let's begin with the entry of row 1 corresponding to A11. Now when you have to do, you have to select first row and first column in order to multiply. And then each element of this row will multiply by the each element of this column. So 1 will multiply by 2 plus minus 1 will multiply by minus 1 plus 2 will multiply by this 5. So what will you get? 1 times 2 is 2, and when you multiply 2 negative sign, it gets cancelled. So this becomes plus 1, and then 5 times 2 is 10. So the answer will be 10 plus 1 plus 2 is 13. Okay, so this is corresponding to the element C11 because we said this is C matrix. Now let's begin with the first row and second column. Okay, so you have to select again first row and second column and again multiply each element. So 1 will first multiply by 7 plus minus 1 will multiply by 1 plus 2 will be multiplied by minus 4. So 1 times 7 is 7, minus 1 times 1 is minus 1, and then 2 times minus 4 is minus 8. So again negative and negative is positive. You have to add. So 1 plus 8 is 9, and again you have a negative sign because of 8. And then 7, and 7 minus 9 will be 2 again because you have to subtract, and the largest number is 9, so minus 2 is the answer corresponding to this row. Okay, so let's begin with the second row and first column. So again you select that and again multiply by individual. So 0 times 2 plus 3 times minus 1 plus 4 times 5. So what is the result? Any number multiplied by 0 is 0. 3 times minus 1 is minus 3 and 4 times 5 is plus 20. So again plus minus minus, if you subtract 3 from 20 it's 17 and the biggest number is 20, so the sign is positive. So it's plus 17. So let's just write those numbers back. 13 minus 2 and this one is 17. Let's do the last one. So again for second row, because this is C22 which is left, second row you have to select second column and again multiply each. So 0 times 7 plus 3 times 1 plus 4 times minus 4. So again this term will be 0 because it's multiplying by 0. 3 times 1 is 3, 4 times 4 is 16, and then you have a negative sign. And if you subtract 16 from 3, if you subtract 3 from 16, it's become 13 and then it's negative 13. So the answer to this problem is 13 minus 2, 17 and minus 13. So this is a product of A and B. Again, it's a 2 by 2 matrix you get. Let's try another problem. In this case, A is 6, 9, 2 and 3. So how many rows are there? There are 2 rows. And how many columns are there? There are 2 columns. Right? So in B case, how many rows are there? 2 rows, and the columns are 3. So what is the resulting matrix rows and columns? C will have, so these needs to be same, it's fine, and the resulting will be 2 by 3. Number of rows for A and number of columns for B. That will be the resulting matrix for C. C is nothing but the product of A and B. So let's begin with, again, in order to find the first element, you need to select first row and first column. So let us just do this step by step. So then this becomes 6 times 2 plus 9 times 7. That's it. Let's do the second column, that means C12. C12 is again first row and second column. So this becomes 6 times 6 plus 9 times 9. Now for element C13, what will be it? So first row again and now third column. So it will be 6 times 0 plus 9 times 8. Okay. Now let's begin with the second row and first column, C21. So you have to select the second row, which in this case is C23, and then the first column. So it becomes 2 times 2 plus 3 times, what is this element? 7. Okay. Then coming to second row and second column. So again second row is 2, 3. So 2 times 6. 6 is the element for the second column, plus 3 times 9. And similarly for second row and third column, again you have to select row 2, which is 2, 3, and column is 0, 8. So 2 will be multiplied by 0 plus 3 will be multiplied by 8 for this column. That's it. You have to solve this. So this becomes 6 times 2, 12 plus 7 times 9 is 63. This becomes 2 times 2, 4 plus 7 times 3, 21. This becomes 6 times 6, 36 plus 9 times 9 is 81. Again 6 times 2, 12 plus 9 times 3, 27. Anything multiplied by 0 is 0 plus 9 times 8 is 72. 2 times 0 is 0 plus 8 times 3 is 24. So this is the net results. So when you add 12 with 63, it's 75. When you add 36 with 81, it's 117. And then this term is 72. And then when you add 4 with 21, it's 25. When you add 27 with 12, it's 39. And then 0 plus 24 is 24. And this is the answer. And just to check, how many rows are there? 2 rows and 3 columns, and which should be the case. So that's it. I hope you like this video. Please like, share and subscribe, and thank you for watching.